So why are modern countries so centralized? Look at a map of Europe today. France, Germany, Italy, Spain, huge nations with neat little borders, all with powerful capitals. But for most of history, Europe didn't look like this at all. It was fragmented, chaotic, and almost unrecognizable. If you zoom back to just a few centuries, say around the year 1500, the story looks completely different. Europe was a patchwork, quilt of hundreds, even thousands of tiny kingdom states. In Italy, Florence, Venice, Milan, and Naples, they all operated as independent powers. Venice controlled trade routes stretching into the Eastern Mediterranean. Florence was run by the Medici family, famous for banking and art, and the Pope ruled the Papal States right out of Rome. Italy wasn't a country how we see it today. It was a chessboard of rival city-states. In Germany, forget one big Germany. It was the Holy Roman Empire, which Voltaire famously joked was neither holy nor Roman, nor an empire. Inside it was over 300 independent duchies, bishopsies, free cities, and tiny countries. Some were so small you could walk across them in an afternoon. Think of a Luxembourg or something like that today. Even France, which looks so solid today, was in the process of centralizing at this time. In 1500, the crown controlled the Île-de-France region around Paris, but major duchies like Brittany and Burgundy were nearly independent kingdoms of their own. So why did medieval Europe look this way? The short answer: geography, technology, and good old feudalism. Europe is naturally divided by mountain ranges, rivers, and seas. Think of the Alps, the Pyrenees, the English Channel. The geography encouraged small independent regions rather than large unified empires. Technology also mattered. In the Middle Ages, no king could easily project power across vast distances without railroads or telegraphs. And with armies made up of local knights rather than professional soldiers, central governments just couldn't enforce control everywhere. And then there's feudalism, the system where kings granted land to nobles in exchange for military service. In practice, that meant nobles often acted like mini kings themselves. A count or duke might owe allegiance to a monarch, but in reality, he ruled his lands as if they were independent. So what exactly changed? Why do we now have giant centralized states instead of tiny little medieval ones? One of the biggest factors was the rise of gunpowder and standing armies. Castles, once the symbol of feudal independence, became useless against cannons. To maintain cannons and permanent troops, rulers needed huge amounts of money, and that meant stronger central governments capable of taxing population. Second was the growth of trade and economics. Larger states meant unified markets. France, for example, gained economic strength when it finally integrated regions like Brittany and Burgundy. Small states simply couldn't compete with the scale of their bigger neighbors. Third, the Renaissance and Reformation reshaped Europe's politics. Monarchs like Louis XI of France or Charles V of Spain pulled power away from the feudal nobles and concentrated it in their capitals. By the 17th century, we see the rise of the nation-state as we know it. By the 19th century, the map of Europe has been completely transformed. Italy unified in the 1860s under leaders like Cavour and Garibaldi, sorry for the pronunciation. Germany unified in 1871 after the Franco-Prussian War. What had once been hundreds of states was now just a handful of powerful nations. And this trend didn't stop. In Europe, across the world, centralization became the model. The modern state, with its standing professional armies, bureaucracies, and centralized capitals, it is a product of this long evolution. So when you look at today's map of Europe, those big, bold nations like France, Germany, Italy, remember, just a few centuries ago, Europe was one of the most fragmented places on Earth. The centralized world we live in today is actually the exception, not the rule. Hey, well, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below what you think of this video. Did you realize how fragmented Europe and the rest of the world was? And do you think it's better to have these centralized states, or lots and lots of different ones? Let me know down below in the comments. If you like this video, please share it, like it, and tell me what other videos you guys want me to make in the future. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. See ya.